In the game hard overlay, guys, firstly, down here, there will always be the score displayed at all times, best of 5. But spawning here in the top left corner of the map, playing for my insanity. You know what? I forgot to we had all this downtime. I forgot to grab their Twitters. Let me go do that real quick so I can give these guys their proper Twitter shoutouts. Of course, we all know Stardust, but Tefel, of course, could use a bit of love. Here we go. Spawning the top left corner of the map in the finals of the EnerJ Cup monthly finals, guys. This isn't just a regular weekly cup. This is the monthly accumulation of the last 3 or 4 cups. It is from my insanity, the Red Protoss Stardust. Find him on Twitter at StardustSC2. And his opponent in the lower right, playing for Team Dignitas. From Poland, it is the Teal Zerg Tefel. You can find him on Twitter at Dignitas Tefel. Now, Stardust and Tefel, as I said before, they've met a couple of times in the past, to say the least. Oftentimes, it's back and forth series. You'll see them like, you know, 3-2, 2-1s, like. You rarely see 3-0s between these two guys, and some might argue like, well, they're not Korean, so it's not fun and it's not interesting. But I gotta tell you, like, in StarCraft 2, like, it's even matched players that I find to be way better. Like, the last thing I want to do is watch Jaedong fight against a Bronze League player, even though I love Jaedong, right? But if I watch Stardust and Tefel go duke it out, that's gonna be a much more entertaining series, in my eyes at least. And I would hope that the sentiment is somewhat reciprocated by a lot of you, because we got a lot of people tuning in for this finals. Big shout out to everyone, not just on my stream, but the EnerJ Cup has pulled a huge audience here today, and I hope that encourages them to come back for more cups, more tournaments, more StarCraft in the future. I'm looking at Team Liquid right now. There's like 5.2k people on Millennium TV, 2.7k. Whoa! I didn't even realize how many of you were here. 2.4k on like the Russian stream. The Polish stream's got a good 1,000 people. Everybody today combined is like a good 10k plus people watching some StarCraft 2 from what is not a premier event, not WCS, but a good tournament brought to you by some awesome people. Now, the energy drink, I think, is only available in Europe, and I'm never going to get a chance to try it. But I think it's really cool and really classy that they put money into StarCraft 2, and more power to them and EnerJ for making this all possible. That being said, we do have the Forge expand coming out of Stardust. They go for the Nexus first, of course. So, pardon me, I am sick, and I'm going to try to cough off the mic as much as I can. So I have a cannon up, and there shouldn't be too much threat. Tefel, of course, took that 13 pool, but it's not like he invested in gas. He's not going for speedling all in, and this is not Daedalus Point, for goodness sake. But, yeah, Stardust setting up to be a pretty safe opener here, which is a weird thing to consider. He is, of course, known as a very cheesy, very all-in style player. And we'll see just how Tefel decides to approach this series. I definitely think it's more on Tefel than in Stardust to win this. Stardust has kind of got this style. Not even the fact that he's Stardust, not that he's a Mind Sanity, not even that he won a DreamHack in the past. It's just the fact that the way Stardust plays, it's hard to break. Like, once he gets to this composition that he's comfortable with, it's either win or lose. There's not a whole lot of back and forth out of it. At least not PvZ. PvT, on the other hand, as we've just watched an awesome series between him and his teammate Jakshi, is a whole nother can of worms, of course. But just joining up for now, taking that third base a little bit earlier. Of course, this is something you can afford to get away with when your opponent goes for the Forge expand. They're not going to have a Mothership Core or a Stock or a Zealot pushing into your base anytime soon. And I need some water, so just one sec, sorry guys. Anyways, so for Tefel, he's a player who is really comfortable with his roaches. There's some players in StarCraft 2, like Scarlet, for example, you watch her, and every single time, it's going to be Mutalisks. It's going to be Mutalisks and Mutalisks and more Mutalisks. And Stardust, perhaps, worried that because he's playing Zerg in general, going to get the Stargate down real quick. Oracles are something he does like utilizing. For those who do not know, an Oracle can take on a Queen quite handily. You add a Mothership Core or even a Zealot underneath it, and that Queen, it just doesn't stand a chance. So Oracles are not a bad investment in PvZ. The problem is once the Oracles are revealed, Spore Crawlers go down, and from that point on, you're kind of like, whatever. Do what you can. Revelation's kind of a cool skill we're seeing a lot more too. Whether it's Korea, North America, or Europe, when you watch StarCraft 2, take a look at VODs from like say 3 or 4 months ago, you saw Revelation used like once or twice, if that, if you were lucky. Nowadays you see it used quite frequently and often, and we'll see if Stardust gets much use out of this. In fact, I'm talking this big game about Oracles, but he opens with Phoenix, which is a bit weird to see. This is a bit of an older school opening, but you know, 3 to 5 Phoenixes are not bad. They can still harass the mineral lines. They can do quite good in the late game, and of course, there's no way for it to really dance around them, and there's no way you build Mutalisks into Phoenixes. I guess unless you're hoping for a death wish. Anyways, a couple drones do go down here at the natural. In fact, that was first blood.
First blood.
Sorry, I almost missed it. But yeah, Zealot, just being a bit of a pain. Gonna take a couple lings out with it too. Oh, not if Tefel micros him back though. Nice. So loses the drone, the single drone. Bit of an annoyance, but that's about it. Phoenix starts clearing up some of the overlords. Of course, this does reveal that Phoenixes are out and available. Big question is going to be, does he go up to 3? Does he go up to 5? Or will Stardust for some reason do like 12? There's no reason to go higher than 5 most of the time. But as far as this opening goes here, it looks like he's just investing in the 3 for the moment. Nope, because it looks like he'll probably go to 4 or 5. Weapon upgrades on the way underneath this, of course. This is very common composition way back once upon a time. This is not what you see nowadays so frequently, but it used to be every single game would be Phoenixes, forcing your opponent into Hydralisks, which is exactly what we see happening, which will allow you to go to Colossus, which then allows Tefel to go to Vipers and try and end the game. The problem is, this is kind of that window where Protoss players, they need to get in before there's any chance to go to Vipers. You already know, you can predict the way Tefel's going to play this game. Tefel can predict the way Stardust is going to play this game. They just have to get in and hit before it becomes too dangerous for one or the other. That's a lot of Zealots warped in here though from Stardust, and looks like Colossus tech might be eventually on the way, but with +1 Zealots, oh man, this attack could be vicious. Hydras will be down here as well. Graviton Beam, of course, is going to be, well, quite nice for crowd control, but the damage portion of it's going to be a bit irrelevant when you've got Zealots on the ground like this. Of course, with no charge, sadly can't quite, bullhead into the Hydralisk, but Hydralisks only have 80 health. Zealots, well, they attack twice, and they're going to have +1 upgrades on them here in just a second's time, so they're going to do a lot of damage. If Tefel has more than enough Hydralisks, perhaps he can try kiting on creep. But of course, one thing he's got to be careful of is, of course, Phoenix is floating around. Be looking to pick them off when and where available. Alright, gonna start the fight here. With 5 Phoenixes, you can one-shot the Hydralisks, by the way, guys. Well, I guess technically one-shot. One volley is more like an accurate term, but Roach is on the ground doing what they can. Zealot soaking some of these hits, and the Hydras, unfortunately, are just being picked apart left and right with no anti-air left. They're going to start picking up Queens, I guess. I mean, why not? The Phoenixes are kind of left uncontested at the moment. Not sure about picking up that one Queen. Kind of actually saved it more than hurt it, but the push is shut down in the end. Resources lost, looking a little bit more in the favor of Tefel than Stardust, but of course, losing Hydralisks for Zealots, not a situation you necessarily want to be caught in. With the Phoenixes being down too, it's a little bit, it sucks for Stardust. He loses a lot of harass potential. There's no chance to sort of vanguard against the Vipers later on, because the Vipers will eventually have to come out. So very limited on what he can do to guard these Colossus. But Spore wants to come down. No reinvestment into the Vikings, or shut up, Vikings, the Phoenixes just yet. Man, my brain is all over the place. Don't cast while sick, guys. Lesson learned. Mothership Core is going to walk away, and this base will be cancelled immediately, so Tefel will not even have a chance to knock it down, but still accomplishes the same goal, the same reaction. There's some force fields with this, but I fear there might not be enough units. Just the sheer power of Tefel's push. He might have literally too many units for Stardust to deal with. Forge is going to go down, so this can actually strip away the weapon upgrades there. Gateway going to go down the front lines too. Might even lose the Cyber Core. Not that he's really relying on too much more than the sentries at the moment, but some force fields will go down. Push this army back just a tad, but Hydra still have range to connect to this. One Immortal, one Colossus. Let's see what Stardust can do, because this army from Tefel looks like it wants to kill that Cyber Core. Stardust has not started to build a second one yet, so these last 3 sentries are, well, his last 3 sentries. Trying to get another Colossus out behind this. Foot on overcharge is popped off. More force fields go down, and Tefel is looking to lose his army here, but the Colossus move forward a little bit of mistake there out of Stardust, but it backs away with 1 health. 1 HP Hive! The Colossus lives to see another day, which is fantastic because now it has extended Thermal Lance, an option it did not have at the start of this fight. Second Colossus is about to pop in a moment's time, but all it takes is a couple Roaches moving forward to try and knock this down. Stardust loses the Colossus. The Immortal still standing, and a second Colossus pops out behind this. So much damage has been done though, and Colossus, oh man, forget the Colossus for a sec. 16 workers dead, only 38 workers between these 2 bases, and half of his buildings, not half of his buildings, but most of them were torn down here on the front lines. Still no wall off, still no sentries, and no gateway has been remade. Or sorry, Cyber Core has been remade. So no more sentries means no more force fields, means no more chance for Stardust to really hold on to this. A desperation force field goes down on top of the ramp as the Colossus is awkwardly trying to kite these lings around, but Mothership Core popping out, second Colossus desperately trying to escape. I don't think this is going to work. Good game is going to be called, and game 1 is going to go to Tefel. Hooah!